Damn, I can't zoom in, but we have a nice, beautiful full moon. Anyways, day 19, there we go, day 19 of carnivore. And let's see if I walk into anything while trying to hold this light up and do the video. But feeling good. One of my favorite things to do right now is, especially with fall being here, is waking up early in the morning, opening the windows in my office, and just sitting down in my chair with like a nice cup of bone broth and drinking it. Absolutely love it. It's what gets me out of bed really quick. Cause I'm like, oh, the quicker I get out of bed, the colder it's gonna be. And then I can just sit there with a blanket over my shoulders and have a nice glass of bone broth. And if you want to know how to make a good bone broth, the key I found is if the bones are cooked, put them in a gallon bag, freeze them, wait till you have enough to fill a stock pot. If the bones are not cooked, then what I would do is, I personally prefer to debone my meat before I cook it, because I find that gives a more even cook, because right next to the bone typically doesn't cook as quick, so you just wind up with a pretty varied range of temperatures. But so I will put the bone in a tray and then roast them at I think it's 400 degrees for about an hour, and just get them really nice and roasted. Flip them, it might be a little less, but then soak them overnight in water, boil them. Well, so you want to put them in water, fill the pot up to cover all the bones, and then you want to basically bring it up to a simmer and leave it there for about, I do a day, and you'll know you did it well and you used enough bones and not enough, and just the right amount of water, if it congeals and kind of turns into a jelly when put into the fridge. And then don't toss out the bones yet. I strain that, and that's the bone broth I typically drink, but I will refill the pot up and I'll steep it this time for a day to a day and a half. And this bone broth is like, a second extract of the bones. You still get a decent amount of flavor, but I prefer using this for cooking if I'm doing soups or anything else. I mean, you can also drink it, but it's just, the taste isn't quite as good. I do make sure to heavily salt it, and I also put the bone broth in the fridge and then skim off the fat from the top of it, just because I don't really like the fat. It's fine while drinking, but it just congeals at the top of the mug, and then if you're heating it up, it can burn you. I prefer just to toss the fat, but that's me. Anyways, carnivore's been going good. I mean, flying by, really. Got 10 days left. And after that 10 days, I'm going to talk more about my plans after that. So after the 10 days, my plans are to experiment with some carbs. I'm going to try doing maybe one carb, when I say carb, I mean fruits. One fruit heavy meal on whichever day the 30-day ends on, and see how I feel the next day, see how I perform, and then go carnivore and see how that does, and just experiment with it. I know I do well with apples. I know I do well with pineapple and cantaloupe and honeydew. I'm not gonna have any baked goods or bread or gluten, because I feel good without it. And I don't know, with carbs, and I never really have the cravings too much for them. And I think part of that, I used to have a lot of cravings for baked goods and donuts and candy back when I first started doing carnivore. And then I'd do a cheat day and then I'd eat all that stuff. And then I go back on carnivore, do keto, and after you do it a couple of times, you're just like, why the hell am I doing this to myself? I feel like crap after eating this candy. Like, sure, I feel good while I'm doing it, but like afterwards, the next day, I don't. And then you're like, well, I mean, I guess I'm gonna stop. And then you're like, but doesn't that like remove the pleasure? Like, isn't that like denying yourself something pleasurable? Like, not really. I mean, you're just choosing the greater pleasure of feeling good all the time over the momentary pleasure of shoving large amounts of candy into your mouth. But I do want to see how some fruits affect me. And like I said, I'm not going to go carnivore for the rest of my life. There is periods of time to go carnivore. There's benefits to going carnivore. I might go off of it for a week, but I'm just going to experiment with some different stuff. I feel like that's mostly what people should do in order to understand their bodies, understand how they react to stuff, how they can optimize their health. Because not a lot of people try stuff. Like, I went vegan for 3 months, and that allows me to clinically say to anyone out there who spouts veganism as like being good that it doesn't work for me. I felt horrible. I was bloated. I was protein deficient. I couldn't get in nearly enough foods. My brother literally looked at me one day, and he's like, he basically said my eyes looked glossed over, and I just looked out of it. And he's like, dude, you need to eat some meat. And I was like, okay, like not even like mentally there enough to really offer a lot of resistance to it. But I mean, I've done keto, I've done carnivore. People are like, oh, you shouldn't do these, they call them like crash diets. Like, you shouldn't do these crash diets, like 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day, like fasting. I'm like, no, I think you should. I mean, I think these things have benefits when done in certain ways. Like, carnivore is really great if you want to have, just be lower weight. If you need to make a weight class for something, it's really good. It's also really good for dealing with inflammation in the body. You're cutting out all sugars, all processed foods, and it's also really good. Yeah, inflammation in the gut. If you want to do an elimination diet and find out how stuff is. So, I mean, I'll probably do that. And I'll do like one fruit at a time. I'll just do apples for the first time, and then I'll do carnivore for a while, and then some fruit. But I'll make a plan, and then I'll stick to it, just like I made a plan to do carnivore for a month, and then I stuck to that. And I'll be collecting my health data along the way, thanks to my Whoop wristband. And then I'll also be making videos, updating. Probably not every single day. Probably go back to talking about more philosophies and other thoughts I had versus doing daily blog updates. But I'll also make a weekly update or whenever I feel like it. But anyways, day 19, feeling good. Health is good. Looking lean and muscular, even if I am staying at the same weight. But touch that again later. Peace out.